Welcome to Flowcast. Today we're going to Padova in Italy to meet Sergio Marchesini. Sergio's approach is rooted in his double life as a developer and composer, bringing together code, music, AI and traditional poetry. Let's listen to him. Thank you for being here, Sergio. Do you want to start telling something about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be part of this project. I am a software developer for half of my time, and for the rest of my time, I'm a composer and musician. So this project was a perfect chance to find the balance between these two parts of my life, using software development and AI to build some sound material, and then going back to my usual process that is more artistic, experimenting with whatever came out, was spitted out of the IT part, and got a composition together.
So you started working on data?
Yeah, my initial idea was to compare the different frames of the video that you sent us. But then it was a bit complicated. My computer vision, I wrote some computer vision routine, and the original idea was to see if monitor changes in the shape of the river. But it didn't work out so well. So then I just took one frame, one where the image was very clear, no clouds, and I used computer vision to figure out the exact shape of the river in the image. And then I did some simulation, creating, I was imagining I wanted to find the path of a little stone that was carried on by the current. So I simulated, I split the screen in vertically in three parts, and then simulated points on the river and lines that will connect these 3 points. And with that, I exported all the coordinates of these points, and that became the original material that I will apply sonification to. And then I used a Max MSP software that read the data file I've saved from the development part, let's say, and used that. It was like a comma separated value file with all the coordinates, and then I will use those coordinates to find points in a scale on different octaves. I had a way of choosing the scale, so I could switch to different scales to explore the sounds, how they will build differently. And I would use Y position, X position, and then the length of the segments. The idea was to generate a string quartet, but then I liked it better with synthetic string sounds. And then I broke some of the harmony into arpeggios, pizzicatos, different elements that will come on gradually in the piece. But the idea was to have something very flow-like, something, what is very nice in nature, I believe, is that, it's changing and it's never changing. You look at the river, and the reason why you never get tired of looking at it is that, you have micro changes. So you have this feeling of flow, but there's nothing abrupt. It's always the same river, and still you never get tired of watching it. And the idea was this, that, and that's why also I kept the piece quite long, because it takes a little time, just like, when you walk out of the city and you find a nice spot in nature, and it takes a little bit to get your pulse or your rhythm to adjust.
And time works differently when you're sitting by a river. One of the main points of this project was to ask the artist, like you, all the ethical questions that surround the renaturalization projects on the rivers. And there's always this dilemma between artificial and natural, of exploiting nature, and what to do to fix it. Is it like going back in time, going forward? I like that you use something that's artificial, like, AI coding, together with something that feels a bit more natural, even if it's intrinsically human, like composition. Have you considered all these aspects as you were working on your composition?
Yeah, I think this theme is a very tricky one. It's complicated. It has many facets, many sides. When I was 16, I lived in Wyoming in the United States, and about that time, Yellowstone Park was on fire. And there was a big discussion in the state because it was a natural fire. Okay, It was not man initiated. So the discussion was, well, if this is natural, we should let it go. It's part of, the cycles of nature. And another side would say, yeah, but all the animals, all the, And it was very hard to take sides on this. I always remember this when I think about this topic, because it's very tricky. I think you cannot take progress and humans out of the picture. In that case, some say there is a third way, maybe looking at how you impact nature, and that way is that you accept that you cannot be out of the game, but you act more like an artisan would. And will keep the nature of the object, like wood. They will treat it like it is. They will not try to turn it into something else. But they encourage, they sustain, they restore sometimes. And in this case, it is true. The algorithmic part is often seen as something alien to this, or something manipulative. But when you start using randomness, for example, you're kind of tipping into something that it's not even information technology. It's something that is, once again, nature. We don't even know exactly. We observe randomness, we simulate it, but the randomness that exists in nature from complex system is something that is almost, to me, transcendent. It's something crazy that seems to be part of nature everywhere you look. So using randomness in part gives me back that kind of feeling that I see in nature of systems so complex that cause and effects are so mixed within each other that it's hard to predict. So you kind of give up to randomness, and that's how I see it. And for AI, it's in this case, I used it to generate, for example, a voice. And I like the idea that the voice was like the voice of a river, or a little bit going to fairy tale world. So it's funny to me that this voice doesn't belong to a human being somehow, not to a specific human being.
The element that kind of sounds more human, that resembles more a human in your composition, is actually not.
Yeah, exactly. So it's also a game, and you play with what is real and what is not. But I think that the point is how it changes you when you get into the flow, when you step aside and look at nature doing its game, doing its song. And I think that will be already a good attitude when you have to decide how to approach nature. Take the time to let nature speak or sing to you, and then maybe your attitude might change. That's how I feel about it.
Take the time to listen, which is something we are not doing much lately. This plays well into the second main topic, which is the connectivity, as you cannot draw a clear line between artificial, organic, human, natural, maybe because everything is connected. So one of the main topics of this project is to show also how the entire river is connected as an entity from top to end, and also with everything surrounding it, the landscape, the people living with it. So it's a constant interaction, a connection. So during this project, many artists decided to connect with other artists and collaborate sometimes. Did you do something like that as well?
Yeah, I have a friend. We work together very often, Francesco Ganassin. I think you interviewed him already.
I did already, yeah.
And when we entered the project, we asked to have opposite sides of the same segment of the river, so that we could somehow organize something together. And this was the first element of connectivity that I followed. I asked Francesco to have some samples, some elements from his composition, and I gave him some of mine. I gave him the voice part that I generated, and I think he used it, hiding it somewhere. And for me, I took some part of his some sonification at the beginning and the end of my composition. There's a little layer of sound that starts and ends the composition. That is what I have taken from the other side. And also, to me, connectivity is also about history. And so for the words to the song I generated, I looked into a poem by Zanzotto. Andrea Zanzotto is a very famous poet in Italy, but he lived in this area. And I remember he had a very nice poem in the local dialect about women going down to the river to wash clothes. And so I translated it, and I fed it into the AI, so to have it sung. And I think that, to me, it's nice to imagine an AI singing a very old poem that also looks back at, so there's two jumps. The poem is about 20 years old, but it looks at the time that is maybe 70, 80 years ago, when the river was part of everyday life for all the people here. And so that's also, to me, a form of connection.
If you want to know more about Sergio's approach to this project, you can go to our Substack page at artmusicscience.substack.com, where you can find extra information and images describing Sergio's workflow. Now, let's listen to his composition, Washing Away Our Rugged Lives.
riverbed, washing clothes and chanting songs. It's not a woman's work, it's history, like growing up a child, like waiting for the end. All of us from here walk down to the riverbed. It's just a woman's work, it's history, like lighting up the dark, like singing